Maybe this message has reached you at the exact moment you needed to hear it. We grow up believing that worrying keeps us safe, that if we rehearse every possible disaster in our mind, we will somehow prevent it from happening. It's as if our thoughts were a protective shield, a way of staying one step ahead of life. But in truth, worry is a clever illusion. It whispers that it is helping, while quietly draining your energy, narrowing your vision, and pulling you further away from real solutions. The mind becomes like a watchman who never rests, convinced that danger is always near. And yet, the longer we live in this constant alert, the less we notice the very opportunities that could lead us out of fear. Neuroscience has a name for this state: survival mode. When we worry, our brain activates the amygdala, the center of threat detection, and releases cortisol, the stress hormone. This chemical state was meant for short bursts of reaction, not for days, months, or years of mental tension. But when we stay here for too long, we stop being creative, intuitive, and open to new possibilities. I once knew a man, a brilliant entrepreneur, who lost his chance to grow his business, not because he lacked talent, but because he tried to predict and prevent every possible risk. While he was busy running scenarios in his head, his competitors were moving forward, experimenting and finding paths he could not see. His worry did not protect him. It blinded him. And this is the great paradox of worry. The more we try to control every outcome, the more we lose sight of the simple, obvious steps that could actually help us. When the mind is consumed by imagined problems, it forgets to notice real solutions. Worry feels personal, but in reality, it follows a predictable pattern. There's something called the Galatea effect, the idea that our beliefs shape our performance and even the way reality responds to us. If we believe that something will go wrong, we unconsciously behave in ways that make it harder for things to go right. In ancient Hermetic wisdom, there's the law of rhythm, the understanding that life moves in cycles. There are seasons for planting, seasons for growing, and seasons for harvesting. But when we worry, we try to force results in the wrong season. We dig up the seed to check if it's growing, and in doing so, we disturb its natural process. Another trap is confusing planning with anxious anticipation. Planning is clear, practical, and finite. You decide the next step and move forward. Anxious anticipation is endless. You rehearse every possible what if, imagining that by thinking more, you'll be safer. But the truth is, the more you rehearse problems, the more vivid they become in your mind. Neuroscience shows that when we repeat these mental scenarios, our brain reacts as if they were actually happening. The stress hormones rise again, the body prepares for a fight that never comes, and the mind becomes addicted to scanning for danger. Here's the good news: the moment you stop feeding this cycle, everything begins to shift. Your body enters what could be called a reset. Cortisol drops, your heart rate stabilizes, and your brain's executive functions, the part that solves problems and sees creative solutions, switch back on. On a deeper level, your intuition wakes up. Your brain begins producing more alpha waves, the same brain patterns linked to insight, creativity, and mental clarity. It's like tuning into a softer, wiser voice inside you that was drowned out by the noise of constant fear. Your energy field changes too. Studies on heart coherence show that when we are calm, our heart and brain synchronize, creating a harmonious state that can be felt by others. You attract situations and people who are in the same frequency, and life begins to present useful coincidences, those synchronicities that seem to come out of nowhere but arrive exactly when needed. If you want to free yourself from the habit of worry, here are a few practices that work both on the mind and the body. The minimum viable scenario: exercise. Instead of projecting far into the future, train your mind to focus only on the next essential step. Ask yourself, what is the smallest action I can take right now that truly matters? The 4-7-8 breathing method. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 7 seconds. Exhale slowly for 8 seconds. This quickly interrupts the body's alarm system and brings you back to a calm state. The Worry Journal. Write down every worry that comes to mind. Then, next to it, write one action you can take, if any, and mark the rest as not mine to control. This simple act turns anxiety into clarity. The Hermetic polarity practice. When you feel yourself spiraling into anxiety, deliberately shift to its opposite emotional state. If fear is the pole you're in, consciously move toward trust. This is not about denying reality, it's about choosing which vibration to feed. Trust is not something you think, it's something you train. One powerful experiment is the 7-day trust challenge. For 1 week, make a commitment. You will stop micromanaging every detail of life. When worry appears, acknowledge it, but do not feed it. Keep a small notebook and record every unexpected help, every small synchronicity, every time something turned out better than you imagined. Another method is selective attention training. Instead of asking what could go wrong, begin each day asking what is already going well. This simple question reshapes the mind to notice the supportive currents that were always there. You can also try reverse visualization. Close your eyes and imagine that the challenge you're facing is already resolved. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the safety, as if it were now. This not only calms the body but conditions your mind to expect resolution. I remember a therapist who lived in constant anxiety over her clients, her bills, her future. The moment she stopped overmanaging every outcome and started focusing on the present session, her energy shifted. Her practice grew, her clients referred her more, and her own anxiety decreased, without her fixing anything external first. You'll know you're stepping out of worry when life starts feeling lighter. Coincidences begin to accelerate. A call from someone you needed to hear from, the right resource appearing just in time. The mental noise fades. Decisions that once felt heavy become quick and clear. You feel as though time has expanded, you accomplish more with less effort, and your relationships begin to flow. Conversations are easier, conflicts soften, and there's more room for empathy. Here's the truth. Worry never prevented a problem. It only prevented you from seeing the solutions. When you give yourself permission to pause, to breathe, to release the constant rehearsal of disasters, you create the space where wisdom can land. This is the conscious leap of faith, acting without needing to control every detail of the future. 5 minutes a day is enough to remember this. 5 minutes to return to your breath, to your body, and to the present moment. 5 minutes to remind yourself that life is not asking you to control it. It is asking you to live it. Let this be your key. Releasing worry is not giving up. It is allowing the best possible scenario to have the space to arrive.